Discover the incredible truth, my son's heartwarming act exposed 5 hidden gifts for me. On a bright autumn afternoon, Jack stood in the yard, raking leaves and breathing in the crisp air. His 10-year-old son, Ethan, had just burst into the backyard, eyes shining like copper coins. "Dad! You won't believe what I'm doing." With boundless energy, he announced his plans for a community fundraiser for the local veteran center. Jack's heart swelled with pride. This little boy, raised in a modest home, was ready to take on the world. It was moments like these, filled with hope and possibility, that reminded Jack of the American dream he longed for. Ethan spent hours designing posters, crafting decorations, and rallying neighbors to support their cause. With every word of encouragement, Jack felt the weight of his struggles lift, if only just a bit. When the day arrived, laughter echoed through the neighborhood, a symphony of voices uniting for a greater cause. Jack couldn't help but smile, feeling the warmth of community encompass them. But then, as the clouds shifted and shadows lengthened, an icy chill slithered through the air. Jack's longtime rival, Derek, stepped into view, his presence casting a dark shadow over the bright event. Derek, with his upscale suit and smug grin, was the personification of everything Jack was not: wealthy, polished, and utterly disdainful. The tension was palpable as Derek removed his sunglasses, looking down at Jack with that familiar air of superiority. "Nice little gathering you've got here, Jack. Must be hard to scrape by, huh?" Jack felt anger bubble within him but crushed it down, not wanting to taint the day or, worse yet, scare Ethan. Still, as Derek shot disparaging remarks, Jack's chest tightened. Old wounds emerged, scars of childhood bullying intermingling with the present. Just when it felt like everything was about to boil over, Ethan stepped forward with a bundle of gifts he'd made at school. Each one symbolized a value his father had instilled in him: empathy, resilience, respect, hope, and community. The crowd fell silent, the air thick with anticipation. Jack's heart raced, pride swelling as he watched Ethan open each gift, explaining their significance. "My dad taught me these values, and they're the best gifts you can give." Jack's eyes misted, the weight of his son's words washing over him. Would this moment break the dam of animosity between him and Derek? Derek smirked, preparing to rip Ethan apart with his words. Jack locked eyes with his son, who was watching with a mixture of excitement and bravery. Just as Jack steeled himself to confront Derek, something unexpected happened. A whispered revelation fluttered through the crowd, hinting at a long-buried secret connecting their families. Gasps turned to murmurs as Jack felt the ground shift beneath him. This wasn't just a showdown, it was a turning point, a crossroads. Would Jack defend his son's values with a fist or with compassion? The moment sparked a question in Jack's heart: did the past define them, or could they rise above it? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the silence hung between them, Jack grappling with his next move, the crowd held its breath. Would he seize this fleeting chance for redemption or break the bonds of his past? The answers loomed large, casting shadows over the bright horizon of hope his son had just unveiled. The murmuring crowd, once filled with laughter and joy, now seemed to pulse with tension. Jack's heart raced, pounding against his ribs as he struggled to pull his thoughts together. The whispered revelation floated like a ghost in the air, teasing the edges of his mind. What secret could bind him to Derek, the man who had made Jack's life a constant battle? Ethan, unaware of the storm brewing between the adults, shifted nervously on his feet. His innocent gaze darted between Jack and Derek, sensing the change in the atmosphere. Jack knelt down to meet Ethan's eyes, his voice low yet steady. "Ethan, remember what I told you? Values matter, no matter what anyone says." Ethan nodded, determination etched across his small face. He was ready to stand firm, just as Jack had always taught him. The look on his son's face brought Jack back to the moment, peeling away layers of fear and doubt. This was about more than just Derek. It was about family, about standing tall and refusing to be defined by old rivalries. Derek, sensing the shift, widened his smirk. "Your boy is a dreamer, Jack. But dreams don't pay the bills." His laughter cut through Jack like a knife, but something in the way the crowd responded to Derek's arrogance sparked a fire within him. "Maybe not," Jack said, standing straight and tall, feeling a surge of strength. "But dreaming is how we build something worth having." The crowd shifted, their murmurs turning into a chorus of support for Jack and Ethan. Jack could feel their energy, as if the very air around them pulsed with encouragement. "Let me tell you something about dreams," Jack continued, locking eyes with Derek. "They can become reality if you have the heart to see them through. These values my son treasures can reshape lives. Yours included, if you'd let them." At that moment, the crackling tension was palpable. The air around them seemed to thrum with unspoken words and possibilities. Derek opened his mouth to retaliate, but no sound emerged. All eyes were on Jack, and he felt their collective hope resting on his shoulders. The memory of their childhood flashed before Jack: endless games, shared secrets, and an incident long buried when families folded into chaos. The rumor flying through the crowd now coiled tighter around Jack's heart, hinting at a familial connection to Derek he never saw coming. What if their past was intertwined more deeply than he knew? Just then, a voice called out from the crowd. "Jack, isn't it true that our families used to help each other back in the day? Maybe it's time to remember the good." It was Clara, an elderly neighbor, her voice steady and sure. Jack turned to her, his mind racing. Just maybe, this was a chance to thread the old wounds into something more healing. But could Derek meet him halfway? The only reply from Derek was a hard stare, his irritation grappling with something deeper. Jack dared to hope that this moment could shatter the barriers between them. Yet there was still uncertainty, like a fog obscuring a clear path. "We can break this cycle," Jack said, his voice unwavering. "Together." But before he could process Derek's next move, a figure emerged from the back of the crowd. The sight stopped Jack cold, a member of the old guard from the veterans community, a man whose presence elicited respect and nostalgia. "Jack. Derek. Come here. You two need to hear something." Jack's heart thudded in his chest. What revelation awaited? Would it bring clarity, or would it drag the darkness deeper? The crowd held its breath, the air thick with expectancy. Jack realized this moment was poised to change everything. Would he find the courage to face the truth, whatever it may be? Jack's pulse quickened as he exchanged glances with Derek. The weight of the moment pressed heavily between them, embers of tension igniting as the figure approached. The man, old yet commanding, was a familiar face: Mr. Thompson, a wise veteran with a reputation for bringing people together. "Listen up," Mr. Thompson called, firm but gentle. His voice sliced through the gathered crowd like a beam of light. "I've known both your families for a long time. Today, we stand at a crossroads." The crowd shifted, murmurs of intrigue bubbling up like springs. Jack's heart raced as he felt the collective anticipation. What was Mr. Thompson about to reveal? Jack stood taller, his chest swelling with a mix of anxiety and hope. He could feel Ethan's small hand clutch his own, the child's trusting squeeze grounding him. Derek remained stone-faced, but Jack saw a flicker of curiosity. Was it fear? "I came here today to speak about something we all seem to have forgotten," Mr. Thompson continued, his gaze flitting between Jack and Derek. "Your families and their bond." "Save us the nostalgia," Derek interrupted, crossing his arms defiantly. "What does that have to do with us now?" A calm fell on the crowd. Jack could sense the shift in energy, like the deep breath before a storm. Mr. Thompson raised a hand, silencing Derek with a firm but respectful gaze. "More than you realize," he replied. This town, our community, was built on ties of family and friendship. But somewhere along the line, fear and rivalry took over. Do you really know your roots, Derek? Do you know what your father did for Jack's family all those years ago? Derek's brows furrowed, a hint of uncertainty breaking through his bravado. Jack felt a rush of emotion surge within him, memories swirling like leaves caught in a gust of wind. Talk, old man. We're listening, Jack urged softly, though his heart pounded. There was a time when your fathers were blood brothers, Mr. Thompson stated. The words hung heavy in the air, drawing gasps from the crowd. They fought side by side during that dark season, a time of great loss. Jack's mind spiraled. Could it be true? Could the whispers of his family's past hold a deeper significance now? Derek stood frozen, his facade slipping as he processed the revelation. Nobody knew how deep their bond ran until... Mr. Thompson paused, the tension palpable, until tragedy struck and drove them apart. We all lost something in that divide, you two more than anyone. Jack's breath hitched. Ethan squeezed his hand tighter, his small frame sensing the intensity. Were their families really intertwined in ways he had never imagined? The anger, the rivalry, was it all built on misunderstandings? Jack, Derek, Mr. Thompson continued, his voice a steady hand, it's time to heal those wounds. More importantly, it's time to let your sons know who they are and what their families mean. They deserve to grow without the weight of history. The words pierced through Jack. For all the storms he faced, here stood the opportunity to change everything. He glanced at Ethan, who looked up at him, his young eyes wide with hope. Jack recognized that this was not just about them, it was about breaking the cycle, about forging a new future. What can we do? Jack choked out, the question raw with longing and purpose. For the first time, he met Derek's gaze, raw and vulnerable. There was an echo of something familiar in Derek's eyes, a glimmer of connection, an unspoken question of possibility. But before Derek could respond, the crack of thunder rumbled in the distance. The atmosphere shifted, the sense of urgency pressing against them all. What will we choose? Jack said, his voice low and steady. The answer was teetering on the edge, ready to tumble into a new era. Would they seize this moment? Would they reclaim their shared history to build something new? The crowd waited, breathless, as Jack held on to that thread of hope, aware that the answer would define their futures. The sky darkened above, the uncertainty palpable. What awaited them on this journey towards understanding? The rumble of thunder faded into a hushed murmur as the crowd waited for Derek to respond. Jack's heart thumped in his chest, the weight of the moment palpable. Would this be the turning point? Derek shifted his weight, uncrossing his arms, and for the first time, he truly seemed to consider what was at stake. Jack could see the wheels turning in Derek's mind, the very realization that they were standing on the edge of something monumental. Was he finally ready to confront the history that had divided their families for so long? I don't know what to say, Derek finally said, staring blankly at the ground. All this time, we've just fought over stupid things. I never even thought. His voice trailed off, and Jack saw the flicker of vulnerability beneath the bravado. It's okay, Jack said, his own voice trembling slightly. None of us knew, not until now. He felt the beginnings of empathy reach out to Derek, weaving a thread of understanding between the two of them. Mr. Thompson took a step forward, his weathered face softening. You both are products of your environment, shaped by the choices of your fathers. Yet here you are, with the power to write a new narrative. A stirring in the crowd began to rise, soft whispers filled the air with a new kind of energy. Jack felt the shared hope wrap around them, lifting him from his earlier fear. This wasn't just about Jack and Derek, it was about everyone present. For too long, they had been held captive by the ghosts of their past. Together, we can change this, Jack said boldly, locking eyes with Derek once more. Whatever it takes, we need to find a way to mend what has been broken. For our kids. Ethan, still grasping Jack's hand, looked between the two men, sensing the shift. Can we be friends then? He asked, his voice an innocent plea cutting through the tension. A smile crept across Derek's face, a fragile yet undeniable change that spoke more than words ever could. I think I'd do like that, he replied, a hint of warmth creeping into his tone. As the sky outside darkened, the atmosphere shifted again, but this time, it was charged with possibility, not foreboding. The storm clouds loomed, but within that moment, Jack felt a spark of clarity emerge from the chaos. Their sons, caught in the web of misunderstandings, now stood as beacons of hope. The crowd shifted again, more engaged now. Jack sensed behind him a community burgeoning to reclaim the stories they had lost. Voices began mingling with the wind, tentative laughter broke through clouds of silence, and even a few hands joined together, small connectors in the larger tapestry of healing that was unfolding. That's it. Mr. Thompson proclaimed, raising his voice once more over the growing clamor. You young men don't have to fight the battles of old. You can chart a new course, one built on understanding and connection. I encourage you all to share your stories, to embrace where you come from, and build a future that honors that past together. The crowd erupted in applause, a wave of energy surging forward like the refreshing breeze that chased away the storm. Jack's heart soared amidst the excitement. But just as he felt the thrill of this newfound solidarity, a loud crack interrupted them, forcing everyone's gaze upward. The first rains began to fall, heavy and soaking, drenching the ground around them. Jack felt the wetness on his skin, the coolness energizing him, invigorating the hope crackling between him and Derek. Maybe this storm brings not just rain, Jack shouted into the wind, his voice rising above the downpour. Maybe it brings the change we need. Let us start today then. Derek yelled back, enthusiasm filling his lungs as he brushed off the rainwater, his earlier hesitations washed away. But as Jack felt a renewed sense of purpose, a sudden shout broke through, drawing everyone's attention. Look! A boy in the crowd pointed, eyes wide. A figure appeared on the horizon, backlit by flashing light. What is that? Jack asked, a knot forming in his stomach. As the storm chased the light, the energy buzzed with one question. Lingering, what or who was emerging from the shadows? Jack squinted through the cascading rain, trying to make sense of the figure drifting closer. The crowd fell silent, captivated by the sight. A mix of anxiety and curiosity swept through him. Was this an omen, or a harbinger of hope? As the person came into view, Jack realized it was a woman, her silhouette alive with flickering light. The crowd surged forward, a wave of bodies pressed together, all straining for a better look. Jack's heart raced, an uneasy thrill dancing in his chest. It's Lila! Someone shouted, recognition breaking through the tension. Jack felt a rush of relief wash over him. Lila, the woman Derek had talked about, the one who had been an anchor to so many lost souls in their town. She was the community's glue, the one who held everyone together even in their darkest hours. Lila! He yelled, stepping forward. Instinctively, Derek followed, a united front now. The rain fell heavily around them, but it didn't seem to deter her spirit. She beamed, her arms spread wide as if to embrace the world. Jack! Derek! Lila's voice rang out, rich and warm, cutting through the din of the storm. I heard the commotion and I couldn't stay away. I felt it changes in the air. The crowd breathed a collective sigh of relief. Lila had always possessed a rare ability to instill hope, to fan the flames of change where darkness lingered. Look at what's happening here. She continued, gesturing at the people around her. You've started something beautiful. You're standing together, showing your kids that unity is stronger than any divide. Jack glanced at Ethan, who now stood with Derek's son, eyes shining with excitement. They looked at each other as if they understood a connection forged not in spite of their father's past but because of it. Lila stepped forward, addressing both boys directly. I came here to tell you what your efforts can stir a ripple that spreads beyond today. With each word, the crowd leaned closer, their rain-soaked shirts clinging to skin, but no one cared. The message was more important than the discomfort. When you learn to accept and forgive, you build bridges that last a lifetime, Lila said, her eyes scanning the faces. You are capable of writing a new song for future generations, one filled with healing and love. Derek looked at Jack, eyes wide. She's right, he muttered, almost to himself. This is bigger than us. It's about Ethan and the kids. About everyone caught in that cycle of hate. The clouds began to part just a little as Lila's energy enveloped them. Her words sparked something even deeper within Jack, a profound love for his community and a longing to see a true transformation. I want to help. Ethan piped up, determination shining through the raindrops. How can I make a difference? Jack felt a lump in his throat. His son was ready to be a catalyst for change. Just by being kind, buddy, he said gently, ruffling Ethan's wet hair. By being friends. It starts there. Lila nodded, her smile radiant. That's it. Small acts create monumental shifts. Let us gather here again, share more stories, find healing together. But just as the crowd began to cheer, a thunderous boom echoed overhead, louder than before. Everyone froze, glancing up. The figure on the horizon suddenly illuminated the night, revealing something far more daunting than they had anticipated. Look! Derek shouted, pointing again. A dark shape was racing toward them through the storm, and with every pulse of lightning, it grew clearer, a swarm of silhouettes advancing from the shadows. What is that? Jack whispered, his heart pounding against his ribs once more. The tension in the air was electric, and as the figure drew closer, he realized they might not be ready for what was about to unfold. What was coming from the darkness, and would it threaten the fragile hope they had just begun to build? The sound of thunder rolled like an approaching army, drowning out the cheers that had just filled the air. Jack's heart raced as he watched the dark shapes emerge through the curtain of rain, their outlines distorted but undeniably menacing. More than just a storm was on the horizon. It appeared that shadows had come alive, and a wave of unease washed over him. Stay close to me, Ethan, Jack urged, his voice barely rising above the howling wind. He instinctively stood in front of his son, shielding him from the unknown. Lila, however, remained resolute. We won't let fear take hold here. She shouted, her voice fierce and unwavering. Let us stand together. As the figures drew nearer, the crowd's collective breath hitched. The rain poured down, creating a symphony of chaotic energy, but the faces all around expressed a blend of anxiety and defiance. Jack scanned the crowd, looking for familiar faces, friends, neighbors, those who had shared laughter and heartache. They were all here, standing united in this moment, refusing to let darkness extinguish the light Lila had ignited. Suddenly, the first silhouette broke free from the mass. It stumbled into the light cast by the flickering lanterns from the gathered crowd. Jack squinted, his heart in his throat as he processed the form before him. It was a teenager, soaking wet, face streaked with mud, eyes wide with fear. Help! The boy cried, his voice cracking. They're coming. We need to get out of here. For how many? Derek shouted back, stepping forward. The crowd shifted, murmurs racing through like wildfire. Some were frightened, others were growing angry at the idea of more chaos invading their small haven. Jack sensed what was next. A choice would need to be made. We can help them. He called out, feeling the pulse of Lila's message within him. Help? Derek snapped, a mix of disbelief and irritation in his tone. Do you even know what we're dealing with? Let us take a moment. Lila interjected, her calm demeanor a welcome anchor in the storm. What we believe defines us. Choose unity over fear. Jack's eyes darted between Derek and the crowd, sensing the tension between practicality and compassion. The boy begged again, please. We were running from a gang. They want us to join them or worse. Some didn't make it. Panic gripped the crowd, doubt gnawing at the edges of their resolve. Yet, amidst the conflict, Jack recalled the hope they had just felt, the power of community. Lila's right, Jack shouted, stepping even closer to the boy. We can't turn our backs. We stand together or fall apart. He turned to the crowd. What do you want our children to see? Strength in numbers or fear in the dark? Slowly, voices began to rise in agreement. We refuse to succumb. We help those in need. Derek clenched his fists, frustration evident. You'd risk our families for this? They could be trouble. Then we face it together. Lila countered, her eyes steady and fierce, igniting the courage within people. Jack felt a flicker of something magnificent. The children, Ethan and Derek's son, held hands, uniting them as one. Let us protect each other, Ethan shouted, his small voice cutting through. The crowd erupted into a chorus of determination. Just as they began to move, another figure materialized from behind the boy. A girl, equally muddied but fierce, appeared at his side. We're not alone. They'll come and we need to be ready. Jack's heart sank. They could be running from something crueler than they ever expected. Was this the cost of hope? What awaited them? With the storm still raging, the looming threat not far behind, their decision could very well forge new paths or seal their fates. In the distance, thunder rumbled ominously, and Jack couldn't help but wonder to what extent were they willing to fight for the light. What true dangers lurked in their fight for unity? The rain fell heavier now, each drop hitting the ground like a reminder of their urgency. Jack felt the weight of the moment pressing down, the air thick with tension and fear. The faces of his neighbors blurred under the deluge, but their resolve had transformed from uncertainty into something tangible. They were united, and that unity sparkled even under the threatening storm clouds. The boy, still trembling, grappled with the reality of his situation. They'll come for us. We can't let them find us here. His voice wavered, but he stood firm, embodying the desperate fight they all felt. Jack caught Lila's eye. There was an understanding there, a moment where they both knew they had to make a stand. He raised his voice above the roar of thunder, rallying the crowd. We can't hide. We have to help those in need. This is who we are. Exactly. Lila shouted, her spirit shining through the dark. What kind of future do we want to build for our children? One of fear? Or one of courage? Right now, we can be heroes. We can protect those who need it most. Derek, still skeptical, took a step back, his brow furrowed in concern. And what if doing this puts our families at risk? Is our fight really worth that? How can we ensure our safety and theirs? As he spoke, murmurs started to swell once again. Doubt lingered in the air, but so did hope. Jack took in the expressions around him. The mixture of fear and determination echoed in his heart. Ethan squeezed his hand tightly, a silent plea that brought warmth to Jack's chest. He knelt beside his son, looking him in the eyes. No matter what happens, we have to stick together. We don't just protect ourselves, we protect each other. A girl in the front shouted, I vote for courage. Others chimed in, voices growing stronger, their chants merging into a defiant anthem. Courage. 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 Jack felt a surge of energy coursing through him. They were ready. The storm might rage on, and the shadows might loom, but together, they would face it head-on. With one final push, he called out, let us make a plan. We can't just wait. We have to prepare ourselves for whatever comes next. The crowd began to move, forming small groups, faces determined and focused. Jack joined Lila and the two teenagers. Tell us what we can do to get ready. More people might be out there needing our help, and it sounds like trouble isn't far behind. The boy nodded, still catching his breath. We need to barricade the pathways. We can use the old crates from the market, anything we can find. And we must stay alert. Just then, the first flash of lightning illuminated the crowd, reflecting a mixture of fear and excitement in their eyes. They were gathering their strength, ready to fight the shadows, as the reality of their unity became a shield against despair. Jack's heart swelled with pride. This was their moment. In that flicker of light, a panicked shout erupted from the rear of the gathering. "They're here! The gang!" The warning shot through the crowd like an arrow, and in an instant, chaos unfolded. Jack spun around, adrenaline surging. Fear clawed at his insides, but he refused to let it take root. "This is it!" he shouted, his voice cutting through the panic. "Stand strong! We face this together." What lay ahead was unpredictable, but they were not alone. They were a fortress, built from belief and bravery. Jack squeezed Ethan's hand tighter, drawing from the energy of their united front. And then, as another thunderclap shook the air, they prepared for what was coming. Was it courage that would ignite the night, or would darkness creep in to shatter their hopeful stance? As shadows approached, Jack's resolve hardened, and one question echoed in his mind: were they truly ready to fight for their light, or would the storm reveal something even more terrifying? The shadows loomed closer, shifting shapes that twisted in the dim light. Jack's heart raced, a wild drumbeat against the backdrop of the storm. He could hear whispers of fear weaving through the crowd, and he fought against the swell of doubt threatening to engulf him. "Stay together!" Lila shouted, eyes scanning the darkness. "We can't let them divide us." Ethan reached up, his small fingers gripping Jack's shirt, grounding him. In that moment, Jack felt the weight of responsibility settle firmly on his shoulders. It wasn't just about them anymore, it was about everyone who sought refuge, everyone who had come together to stand against the storm. The first figure emerged, silhouetted against the flickering lightning. A tough-looking young man, he swaggered forward, flanked by two others who radiated menace. Jack's instincts screamed at him to retreat, but the strength of his neighbors surrounded him, fueling his defiance. "What do you want?" Jack called out. His voice, sturdy and unwavering, sliced through the air, laden with authority he didn't fully feel. "We're just passing through," the leader sneered, the rain tracing rivulets down his face. "But it seems you've gathered quite the little assembly here. Makes things interesting." Derek stepped forward, arms crossed defiantly. "Interesting or not, you're not welcome here." A greedy glint sparked in the leader's eyes as he glanced past Jack to the crowd behind him. "You think you can keep us out? This storm might have everyone huddled together, but I see fear under all that bravery. It won't take much to break 'em apart." Jack's stomach twisted, but beneath the coils of dread, a flame flickered. "So you want to scare us into submission? That's not going to happen." The leader chuckled, a sound that sent chills skittering up Jack's spine. With a wave of his hand, he motioned for his companions to step forward. "Then let us see just how brave you all really are." The tension in the air thickened, crackling like electricity. Jack felt Ethan tense beside him, the boy's small body vibrating with anticipation. Jack turned to him, meeting his gaze, and in that moment, they were one heart, a combined will that drew strength from love and hope. Together, Jack whispered, fully aware of the danger that lay ahead. With a nod, Ethan squeezed his hand tighter. "Together!" echoed the word through the crowd, joining them all in a unified shout. The gang paused, taken aback by the unexpected courage radiating from the community. Jack saw it to them, they were just a group of people, easy prey for intimidation. But this was much more than that. They were a family, forged not by blood but by shared struggles and the desire to protect one another. Jack's chest swelled with pride, forcing fear to the back of his mind. As the gang advanced, the crowd stepped forward in unison. Jack caught a glimpse of Lila, her eyes fierce with determination, echoing the resolve that erupted like fire within him. "Let us show them what we're made of." Jack bellowed, and the chant returned, louder, more powerful, courage giving rise to rebellion. Just as the two groups were about to collide, the corner of Jack's eye caught something fluttering in the wind, a piece of torn fabric, prominent against the gray. It was a banner, strung up earlier in the day, with the words "Together we rise." emblazoned across it. His heart caught. In that moment, a plan began to form in his mind, a way to turn their unity into something far greater. Would their courage be enough to turn the tide, or would they have to face a darkness that had more than just fists to throw? The answer hung like the rain above them, heavy and ripe with uncertainty. Jack dared to believe. But what if belief alone wasn't enough to keep them safe? The clash loomed like thunder in the distance, but Jack saw an opportunity in the chaos. The banner fluttered, a vivid contrast to the murky surroundings, and he felt it pull at something deep within him. It wasn't just fabric, it was a promise. "Ethan, Lila, get that banner!" Jack shouted, his voice cutting through the tension. "We'll turn their mocking into our strength." Panic surged among the crowd, but the spark of Jack's determination ignited a fire in others. Lila bolted toward the flag, her feet pounding on the soaked ground. Jack's heart thumped a steady rhythm, a mix of fear and hope. He turned to Ethan, who nodded fervently, eyes wide with excitement. "Let us go." Jack growled, his voice barely a whisper of the storm's roar as he pushed forward, leading Ethan in a sprint toward Lila. The gang advanced, but their intimidation was met with the sudden resolve of a united front. Lila wrestled the banner down from its perch, and even as the wind whipped at her, she fought for it, clutching it like a lifeline. The sight of her was inspiring, a literal standing symbol of their fight. With the banner in her hands, she spun around, her face aglow with fierce determination. "Together we rise," she called. It was more than a chant, it was a thread that bound them together. Jack could see their resolve challenging the gang's bravado. The leader sneered, but Jack matched his gaze sternly. "What's a storm to us? We'll stand together, come what may." The thugs hesitated, confusion flickering across their faces. Jack seized the moment. "Everyone! Hold hands!" He reached for Ethan, their fingers intertwining, and encouraged others to do the same. One by one, neighbors linked together tightly, forming an unbreakable chain, hearts beating as one. As Jack returned his eyes to the banner, he felt the energy of the crowd surge. Lila held it high above her head like a beacon, and the slogan became a rallying cry echoing back from the dark sea of faces before them. "Together we rise." The crowd roared again, drowning out the storm. It became a mantra, a pulse within the gathering that merged their fears into fervor. But even as they cheered, Jack's heart thudded for another reason, a nagging doubt. Would passion alone be enough? The leader of the gang stepped forward, the humor in his eyes fading, replaced by a calculating rage. "You think you can intimidate us with a banner and a bunch of words? You don't know what we're capable of." Jack couldn't let fear overtake him. "And you don't know what we're fighting for. This isn't just about you or your little gang. This is about all of us standing strong against anyone who threatens our community." The intensity of his words ignited the crowd even more, and he felt support coursing through their joined hands. But the leader merely laughed, an unsettling sound that crumbled the warmth of their collective spirit. "Let us see just how strong you are when faced with a real challenge." As his gang lunged forward, a flash of lightning illuminated the scene, and in that moment, Jack's eyes met Lila's. They both knew the fight had only just begun. Then came a bone-chilling howl as wind whipped around them, and Jack could feel the unnerving presence of the oncoming storm. But beneath it all, he felt fire raging within them, a determination to protect what mattered most. With hearts alight, Jack whispered fervently, "We have to prepare to face whatever comes next, together." The question hung heavy in the cold air: could they confront the darkness that threatened to tear their unity apart? The answer swirled in the storm, waiting for them to muster the courage to find it. The storm raged on, swirling rain and chaos around them. Jack's eyes flickered from Ethan to Lila, then back to the advancing gang. This wasn't just about survival, it was about overcoming the dread that had lingered for too long. "Ethan, focus on me," Jack urged, kneeling down to meet his son's gaze. The boy's small hand still gripped his tightly. "We do this together, remember?" "I know, Dad." Ethan replied, voice steady despite the tumult. His determination radiated, filling Jack's heart with warmth. Together, they faced the advancing figures. Every soul around them shared a common thread: love, hope, and the courage to stand tall. Lila held the banner higher, rallying those nearby. We rise as one, she shouted, weaving a potent spell over the crowd. Jack drew in a deep breath, channeling the strength of every connection built in this community. You want to know what we're made of? Jack challenged, stepping forward as he felt the energy shift. Hope shimmered in the air, countering the darkness. We're made of resilience. We're made of family. We won't back down. The leader's expression flickered contempt mixing with a hint of uncertainty. He glanced back at his gang, the bravado faltering for just a moment. The crowd surged forward, driven by a shared pulse, hearts synchronized, each voice rising to drown out fear. Together we rise. They cried out in unison, a powerful mantra echoing through the storm. Thunder clapped above them, but the unity born from their bravery smothered the shadows threatening to swallow them. As the gang hesitated, Jack saw a flicker of recognition in the leader's eyes. It was a signal, a moment when the scales tipped. You're just faking it. The thug shouted, but Jack sensed the doubt festering underneath the words. Maybe they underestimated the humanity flourishing within this community. Believe what you want. Jack yelled back, holding the banner in the wind like a sword. But we refuse to fight each other. We've had enough of fear. The words flooded with conviction. And then, something shifted. Around them, the crowd linked hands tighter, drawing strength from their bonds. Lila stepped forward again, her resolve sparking like a flame in the dark. No one gets left behind. We defend each other. The gang shifted, their confidence quaking as the crowd formed a wall of determination. From the rain-soaked ground, Jack felt the love and unity rise around him, pulsing above the din, as if the very fabric of the community sang back. Learn from us. Jack shouted, join us and stand with us for something greater. For the first time, he saw the leader waver, the hardness in his gaze flickering. Perhaps he had never faced a wall of intention and compassion before. As the figures behind him flickered in confusion, Jack saw an opportunity amidst the storm. What if we fought together instead of against each other? Jack's voice rang within the crowd, a powerful vibrato encouraging solidarity. The roar of thunder answered, flagging their collective spirit. The shouts turned to conversations, shifting like a tide coming in. The tension softened around them, the gang's bravado started to crumble. The leaders began exchanging looks, whispering to one another as if they were no longer sure which way to turn. That fear in their hearts mirrored what had held Jack and his own community captive for too long. With courage fueling their resistance, Jack and Lila stepped closer together, eyeing the opposition as the banner rippled proudly in the wind. Perhaps, just perhaps, they could pave a way for understanding, the kind that could lead to healing instead of chaos. The leader finally took a step back, uncertainty radiating from him. Jack pushed on. This isn't just about us. It's about a future free from fear and hatred. Help us build something together instead of tearing each other apart. For a moment, silence cloaked the area, the rain itself holding its breath, observing the tension unraveling. Slowly, Jack noticed some shifting among the ranks of the gang. Finally, the leader nodded slightly, a reluctant acceptance illuminating his face. Maybe we don't have to do this. The atmosphere shifted dramatically. An electricity tore through the crowd as heads turned, eyes bright with realization. Maybe we can do something better. Lila added, lifting her arms toward the heavens. Let us share a vision of cooperation. The crowd, emboldened by this moment, erupted in cheers, infused with an infectious energy that enveloped everyone. They began to chant, voices growing louder and louder until they created a deafening chorus. Together we rise. Together we rise. Soaked to the bone, hands joined, courage ignited like wildfire. In this moment, Jack could see futures anew, the children who would grow up knowing their community's strength rooted in unity, not division. With hearts ablaze, they had become warriors of hope, ready to face whatever darkness loomed. Jack could feel the warmth of progress steaming against the chill of the rain as the clouds began to part, showing the first strokes of dawn cutting through the remnants of the storm. Standing tall, Jack realized they were not merely fighting against a gang, they were rebelling against the cycle of fear that bound them. Together, they rose, forged anew in a bond unbreakable by threats or history. As sunlight broke through, illuminating a vibrant horizon, Jack beamed with pride, heart overflowing. "Today," he said, turning to his son and looking deep into his eyes, "today marks the beginning of a new legacy. Together, we can build something amazing. Let us celebrate what we've become." With that declaration echoing in the wind, a powerful cheer erupted from the crowd, echoing through the heart of their community, a rallying cry that resonated far beyond that fateful afternoon, a promise of change forged in the sacred bonds of love and togetherness. This was their moment. This was the dawn of hope. Now, don't you wish to be a part of shared stories that inspire and transform? You need to subscribe now to catch every exclusive tale. Hit that bell and mark all notifications, you don't want to miss what comes next. Leave a like now to foster community. That little click makes a big difference in spreading these stories. Comment below with your thoughts and feelings about this incredible ending. I can't wait to hear your reactions. And please, share instantly with at least 5 friends who need inspiration and transformation in their lives. Don't wait not even one more second. You, dear friends, are the true heroes of this journey.